right, our mics are live.
All right, there we go.
We're actually gonna like do a sign language cast for you guys.
I did one of those once, sort of.
Oh.
I did a cast where I did everything entirely in subtitles on my YouTube channel.
That's cool. I wish I could do sign language. I would feel like.
Yeah, no, I wish I could do sign language too. I don't actually know sign language.
I'd be able to communicate with.
It was actually just subtitles. I used to do a lot of like gimmicky casts just to mix things up a little bit. But anyway, now you guys know how the GSL was started. There was a rocket ship, and it was going to crash into the Earth, and a giant beam of energy was shot up into that rocket ship, and there was a big explosion. And as the dust settled, the GSL happened in space. True story.
Yeah, well, this is actually, of course, the Code S intro, and they're using it for Code A as well. And when the end is like, "Where are our heroes?" I think it's like I have a statement like, "Oh, there's so many Terrans." You know, you gotta. Where are the rest of the race? Is like, is Nesty the hero who's gonna come and save us all from the Terrans?
You know, I was thinking yesterday. I was like, that's how the GSL was created. Everyone thinks it was a stork coming in, but wouldn't it be cool if there was a stork in the GSL?
That would be pretty cool, especially if he was a StarCraft 1 pro gamer.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
All right, well, here is FXO Oz, my teammate, and a person who actually took out Beyond 2-1. That was a little bit surprising. This guy's High Templar timings and PVT are really, really well developed. Also, you know, his PVZ isn't very good, but it's decent. But I think he's actually going to have a hard time against this guy. Now, this guy is a player who's really famous in Korea because he's on a variety show called Ready Action, which is run by some of our GSL casters. And basically, he brings pro gamers on and just does a little show with them. This guy's actually really good.
He actually is,
he's really strange, and I watched him play a lot, but he never played seriously. I mean, I've actually lived with this guy. And he is just a really funny, interesting person. And I never took him seriously until he started doing well. He did well in the Code A qualifiers, and he actually played really well in general.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, he would not play seriously. Like, we'd be watching him. He used to play random, by the way. He switched to full-time Zerg, but he actually was known as Random King for a while. He played random. He was top 100 Grandmasters in Korea as random. Yeah. That's how familiar he is with all the matchups. And he would just, like, mess around. He'd be playing Protoss and, like, just be making random stuff and like just joking about it, you know, like Lee Hyun-ju would come over and like she'd be watching him and he'd just do like just random crap and I'd be like, "Oh, why are you doing that?" He'd be like, my styly." He's trying to say it's, you know, I just do things my way, and he would like basically be joking around, casually playing against Grandmasters players and beating them. Yeah. It was actually really impressive to watch. Like, once you got past the fact that it was a little silly, you're like, oh, actually, he's just winning as he's messing around. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that is in just a moment, because we are going to get underway with game number 1, FXO Oz, the Protoss versus Superstar, the Zerg, here at the GSL Code A, round of 16. By the way, to Sony Ericsson for being our chief sponsor this season. Intel and G-Skill, of course, still supporting us.
As well as Pepsi, actually.
As well as Pepsi. And here is... Sorry, the sponsors got the intro that time.
That's alright. We all know who Oz is.
G-Skill Ram behind there. Haksu, yep. And here is his Zerg opponent. Used to be a random player. Name is all caps.
Superstar.
Only really a superstar can have his name in all caps.
I'm really not surprised that his name is in all caps, knowing him a little bit. I was going to say about this guy. This guy was known in Brood War as Max. Yeah. Ku Max, and he is actually old school. He's actually really old school. So what I was going to say before is part of why he was able to kind of joke around and still get away with it is because he actually has so much experience. He's probably played tens of thousands of games of real-time strategy, like tens of thousands. That's how many he's played, because he's just been doing this for so long that his mechanics are so ingrained in his soul that he doesn't even need to think about them to play with perfect mechanics, basically. Or maybe not perfect mechanics, but to play with good mechanics, since he's just been doing this for so long.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Oz has 3 more probes queued up. It looks like he's going for an 18 Nexus.
What?
Okay, he's going to go for 17. But he had a ton of probes queued up. He made his pylon on the high ground. In fact,
Interesting.
this is actually something that Oz really likes to do. He likes to make his pylon on the high ground because it actually makes you safe against all sorts of early pool timings.
Yeah.
But you can also do this and be relatively safe if your opponent scouts you late. And right now, actually, Superstar has not scouted at all. He sent his Overlords out, but they're going to take forever to reach Oz's base.
Yeah.
So this is actually a cool little move by Oz.
And he's probably expecting a normal Forge Expand or something along those lines, so he's going to just make a few Zerglings to kill the pylon at his natural and get rid of the probe, and that's it, even though if he knew about it, he would have a really good opportunity to just break Oz right now. And at least cancel the Nexus.
But it's not going to work out because Oz is making his first cannon right now. He's walling off with the gateway as well. Really good positioning by the Oz on the gateway and the cannon.
Wow,
making it so if he makes his core, it's going to be so hard for units to get into the main.
And but Superstar is actually not. His Brood War senses are tingling, man. His Spider senses are saying, I have an opportunity to rush here. He's making a Roach Warren, not even getting an extra hatchery.
And he has no idea what's going on either. He actually has not seen anything. He's not even, all he knows is where his opponent's location is. Now, Oz is going to make a Cybernetics core here very soon.
If the probe gets
oh, man, the probe is going to see the Roach Warren.
Is it, though? Is it going to get it far enough?
Oh, let's find out.
Oh, no!
Didn't see it.
Didn't see the Roach Warren.
But he did see that there were guys in gas, and also was able to see no hatchery. This may tip him off to what's going on here. It's going to be really hard for him to hold this Roach aggression, though. Much harder than we saw last game with Fruit Dealer.
Yeah, he's not going to have as many roaches, but he's going to have them a little bit earlier. This is going to be really tough for him to hold.
Baneling that's going down as well, and Superstar was inspired by Fruit Dealer in that last game.
Here's the thing, he actually got Zergling speed as well, I believe, or did he cancel it?
He has it.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to follow up these roaches with a Speedling rally, and so once those roaches break the cannons, the Speedlings will be able to do tons of damage, and you know, Oz may hold theoretically, but he's going to lose his natural.
Oz is smelling something's up. He's actually adding 2 more cannons right now, but I don't think they're going to finish because these roaches are coming right now. They've been spotted by the probe. He may need to pull some probes to buy time for these cannons to finish. He needs these cannons, but the second one does finish. And actually, I think Oz is going to be able to hold this because his third cannon is going to finish as well. It's all going to come down to the Banelings, really. He's going to try to poke at this cannon and avoid the rest of the units, but there is a sentry out.
Single force field nicely placed to try and block those roaches from escaping the cannon fire.
But here come 3 Banelings being morphed in here. He's adding a gateway to help protect those cannons, and I think Oz is actually going to be able to hold this. He's got he's got a really good wall off coming along here. He's going to have enough force and energy maybe on that sentry as soon as his attack comes to block again, making more pylons, just making all sorts of little things to make it very difficult for these Banelings to hit.
Yeah, Oz definitely suspected something was going on and put down those extra defenses. It's a good thing he did.
He's got a really easy retreat path for his probes as well, whereas the Banelings are going to have to take a long path. And will he drop another building here? Force field goes down, and whoa, a lot of probes being hit by Banelings. Bit of a misstep by Oz, but the roaches are taking a lot of cannon fire. They do take out 2 of the cannons. The third cannon still remains. The Stalker, though, is not able to escape from the Speedlings, and this is a really tough position for Oz.
Yeah, he's got just a couple cannons left over there. He needs to draw those roaches.
Nice force field!
Nice, blocks those in.
But the Baneling!
Oh!
It's a lot of probes, but even so, Superstar doesn't even have another hatchery, even if he loses all these probes. 16 workers have been lost, but 23 probes of 15 is our count right now. Nice micro of the sentry, pulling back the weakened one. The Roach does survive as well with 4 hit points.
Nice. Good micro on both their parts. That was a beautiful force field. And then using the probes to trap those roaches against the cannon fire. Beautifully done. So Oz, yeah, I mean,
he holds this, man, and it looks like he is going to be absolutely fine. He's getting +1 weapons right now. He's got 2 gates done. His warp gate research is finished. He's got really good positioning here, and look at this, trapping the Zerglings outside, even trapping them in a hole where they cannot escape. GG! Nice hold, a extremely risky build, and he still manages to hold it. You can tell he's practiced this build so many times against so many different openers.
That is actually amazing that he went 17 Nexus first, and what they call double nexus here in Korea, and still held a one-base rush. That is actually ridiculous.
And he also made his first pylon on the high ground. They had to make a new wall up. And he didn't even scout what was going on. He just kept checking with that one zealot. And he was like, I'm pretty sure Banelings are going to follow this up. And he made like a perfect wall off.
Yeah.
And he had just enough energy on that sentry. And he always did good force fields.
I wonder if it would have gone a little differently if Superstar hadn't waited for Banelings.
Yeah,
because I think if he'd gone in with 5 roaches and a round of speedlings coming in from behind,
yeah, that's
he only had like 1 cannon, maybe 2
we
cannons
had 1 cannon and 2 cannons warping in, and I was thinking, oh, if he just pressures, he's gonna stop. He's gonna force a cancel on both of these extra cannons, and that's why I was saying he might have to pull some probes, and then Superstar just waited,
yeah,
and then he had the cannons up, and he was able to continue to wall. So I think part of that was definitely,
yeah. I mean, he waited for Banelings, and the force field and the gateway and the pylon in front of everything negated the Banelings. So he waited for something that didn't end up paying off, unfortunately.
And Oz lost a lot of probes. It was really risky with how he held that. He wanted to use the probes to absorb the fire so he could keep his sentry alive, and that ended up working out for him okay. Yeah, he traded 4 probes for a sentry, basically, but you keep the sentry alive.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
what really matters.
And if you've got 2 Nexuses, you can pump out probes really quick.
Especially when you know your opponent's on 1 hatchery.
Once you recover, exactly. And then with your opponent on 1 hatchery, it doesn't even matter. So, Superstar started off a little bit of cheese. He's going to have to go into game 2, 1 game behind.
And, don't judge Superstar off of this. This guy's actually got a lot of macro up his sleeve.
Yeah.
He's a superstar, man.
Does.
He's got a lot of tricks.
By the way, everyone always quotes the picture of him in report threads and everything. Yes, this is the guy that wore the cape into this GSDL match. Same guy.
Same guy.
Kumax, formerly of Eastro, if I remember correctly. Yep. But we're going to get into game number 2. It's going to be on Daybreak. Can Oz bring home another victory and clinch a spot in the up and down matches? We'll find out in just a moment here at the GSL Code A.